Things got a bit dicey on 2nd and 4 when Rashee Rice caught a bubble screen and took a big hit from AJ Terrell. He stayed on the ground, obviously in pain, and while he eventually got up, it was a scary sight, especially with Hollywood Brown already out for the season and Isaiah Pacheco sidelined for a couple of months due to surgery on his fractured fibula. With Rice stepping up as the main playmaker in the offense, especially since Travis Kelce is often double or triple covered, losing him would make the wide receiver group look shaky. Fortunately, with Rice on the sideline, Juju Smith-Schuster stepped up, lining up in the slot for the next play. Mahomes connected with his former number one receiver from 2022 for an incredible touchdown on 3rd down and 7, pushing the score to 22-16. Juju Smith-Schuster is heating up at just the right time, playing around 40 snaps last night. I'm glad Kansas City brought him in right after Hollywood Brown's injury. After a missed extra point, the game stayed within reach, with the Chiefs holding on to an 8-point lead. Atlanta's next drive carried into the fourth quarter, and after a 17-yard screen to Bijan Robinson, Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo started dialing up blitzes from all over. The Falcons' offensive line was banged up. Both their right tackle and center had to leave the game at some point due to injuries, so Spags saw this as an opportunity to put pressure on Kirk Cousins. Tranquil nearly got to Cousins on one play, but during that same sequence, Nick Bolton seemed to tweak his lower back. He didn't leave the game right away, but it was definitely concerning, especially given Bolton's struggle with injuries this season. You hate to see it, especially since Bolton was having a monster game. Fortunately, he managed to finish the game, and so did Rashee Rice, who returned after being shaken up earlier. On the next play, the Chiefs' defense swarmed Cousins, and Younghoe Koo drilled a 54-yard field goal to cut the Chiefs' lead to 5 points. The Chiefs' offense took the field again, hoping to extend their lead to 2 scores, but unfortunately, they went 3 and out. On 3rd and 2, Travis Kelce couldn't hang on to a pass, with Jesse Bates making a great play to break it up. While we all would have loved to see Kelce convert and move the chains, what happened next was almost a disaster. Keep your eyes on this punt. Long snapper James Winchester sent the ball way over Matt Ariza's head, but Ariza saved the day with an incredible play. He leaped up, high-pointed the snap, and still managed to calmly punt the ball inside the Falcons' 10-yard line. What a clutch move. The returner almost fumbled the ball, which would have been wild, but he was ruled down by contact. If Ariza doesn't catch that snap, the Falcons could have had the ball deep inside Kansas City's territory. Or worse, they might have taken it to the house for a touchdown. That one play by Ariza was crucial, and the impact was immediately felt on the next drive. Atlanta had to drive the entire field, and they slowly marched down in a 15-play drive. McLeod broke off a 20-yard run down the left sideline, and there was some chatter about a potential face mask, but it seemed more like he was grabbed at the bottom of his helmet. Of course, there were plenty of people online complaining about it, as usual. But while losers complain, winners find ways to get the job done. Nick Bolton got injured on a 2nd and 8 play shortly after Ray McLeod's run up the left sideline. He had to come off the field for a bit, and Andy Reid mentioned after the game that Bolton had just gotten the wind knocked out of him. However, Bolton later clarified it was a lower back issue, somewhere between his back and hip, and he'll be working on it throughout the week as the Chiefs prepare for their Week 4 matchup against the Chargers. It's definitely something worth keeping an eye on, but fortunately, he returned to the game later in that crucial drive. Let's kick off Sunday Night Football matchup. Right from the start, Kirk Cousins ran a play-action bootleg to Darnell Mooney. This play showed me something simple but effective. The Chiefs' defense was all in on stopping the run, especially focusing on Bijan Robinson. And it worked. Bijan was held to just 1.9 yards per carry, 16 carries for only 31 yards. Tough night for him, though Tyler Allgeier had a better game, with 7 carries for 32 yards, averaging 4.6 yards per carry. Now, Kansas City's defense wasn't perfect. As we see here, McDuffie slipped in coverage, allowing another catch by Mooney. A few more positive plays set up a wide-open touchdown to Drake London. Here's what went wrong. Nazeeh Johnson was supposed to follow London while Drew Tranquill stayed on Bijan. But Nazeeh tried to do too much, thinking a screen pass to Bijan was coming. That misjudgment led to a wide-open touchdown. After the game, Nazeeh took full responsibility, saying, "I didn't play my best, especially on that touchdown. That was on me. I tried to do too much instead of just focusing on my job. But my teammates rallied around me, encouraged me, and I made a key tackle for loss when it mattered. You've got to love that kind of accountability." So, The Chiefs found themselves down by 7. When their offense took the field, something seemed off with Patrick Mahomes. Early on, his first pass to Rashee Rice could have been an easy first down, but it was thrown low and away. Sure, Rice could have caught it, but Mahomes should have delivered a better ball. Then, a misfire to Juju Smith-Schuster followed, and a few plays later, Mahomes had to play defender in the end zone to avoid an interception. It wasn't his sharpest start. Still, back-to-back quick throws to Justin Ross helped set up a first down by rookie Carson Steele. Steele, making his debut, wasn't bad at all. He's not Isaiah Pacheco, but Steele played clean football, averaging 4.2 yards per carry on 17 attempts. 72 rushing yards in your first game isn't bad. The main difference with Steele is that he's not much of a receiving threat like Pacheco, but no one expected him to be. He did a solid job. That's why Samaje Perine got a fair share of snaps too, with 6 carries for 25 yards and 3 catches for another 15. It was a bit of a running back committee between the two, with Steele getting the early down work. Back to the drive. Rice just barely picked up a first down on a 4th and inches, and even after Atlanta challenged it, the call held up. As we can see, the Chiefs steadily moved the ball down the field on this drive, covering 75 yards in 8 minutes and 21 seconds over 17 plays. Unfortunately, all that effort ended in a disappointing interception. Mahomes aimed for Noah Gray in the end zone, but Justin Simmons, former Broncos safety, picked him off for the 6th time in his career. I can't stand the guy, but I respect his talent. Mahomes was under pressure from an unblocked defender on a blitz, which Carson Steele probably should have picked up. Still, Mahomes can't make that throw in that situation. Andy Reid mentioned in his press conference that it would have been a touchdown if the protection wasn't missed. After the game, Mahomes admitted there was some miscommunication on the cover zero blitz, but he took ownership, saying, "You can't make those mistakes, especially in the red zone." The Chiefs' defense stepped up right after, with George Karlaftis hitting Bijan Robinson for a loss and Nick Bolton slamming down Darnell Mooney. Special shout out to Nick Bolton, who had his best game of the season, making several critical plays, including one at the very end. The defense held strong on 3rd down, forcing a punt to close out the first quarter. Into the second quarter, the Chiefs weren't going to be denied. Rashee Rice kept pulling off spin moves on multiple plays, and Samaje Perine had a couple of solid back-to-back runs. Justin Watson came in clutch for Mahomes on a 3rd and 8 to move the chains. Finally, on play number 13 of the drive, Mahomes hit Rashee Rice on an out route for a touchdown, tying the game at 7-7. Rice was on fire in this game. Things looked promising for Kansas City's defense on Atlanta's next drive, but a soft roughing the passer call on Chris Jones changed that. What should have been a 4th and 6 turned into a first down, leaving Chris Jones visibly frustrated. Kirk Cousins took advantage, exploiting a weak spot in the Chiefs' defense by connecting with tight end Kyle Pitts for a 50-yard play. Justin Reed was trailing in coverage, but Cousins had a clean pocket, thanks to Bijan Robinson picking up Nick Bolton's blitz. With time to go through his reads, Cousins made a big play. The Chiefs' defense has now given up over 300 yards to tight ends in just 3 games, and I expect future opponents will keep targeting this weakness. Soon after, a Bijan Robinson touchdown put Atlanta up 14-7. Kansas City responded, moving the ball down the field again, with Rashee Rice and Carson Steele staying busy. However, they were held short and settled for a 53-yard field goal on 4th and 1, making it 10-14. Out of nowhere, Felix Anudike-Uzomah came flying in and leveled Kirk Cousins, forcing a fumble. Unfortunately for the Chiefs, Bijan smartly kicked the ball out of bounds, preventing Kansas City from recovering it. After that fumble, Kirk Cousins bobbled the next snap. Although Bijan Robinson managed to scoop it up, Atlanta still had to punt. This gave Kansas City a chance to score before halftime, which was great because they would also receive the ball to start the 3rd quarter. There were some tense moments during the drive, with a near sack and a potential interception leading to an Ariza punt. Thankfully, Turk Wharton came up big, hitting Cousins just 2 plays later as he released the ball. Safety Shamari Connor seized the opportunity, grabbing his 2nd turnover in 2 weeks and handing it off to Jalen Watson for some extra yards. This helped set up a field goal by Harrison Butker, bringing the score to 13-14, making it a 1-point game before halftime. Travis Kelce finally got involved on the very first play, trading nice catches with Rashee Rice to help get Kansas City into the red zone. However, this trip to the red zone was frustrating, as multiple plays inside the 3-yard line couldn't find the end zone. After Mahomes was chased down by Juden on 3rd down, he opted to throw the ball away. They tried a corn dog play with Worthy on the left side, but it didn't pan out. This led to another Butker field goal, making the score 16-14. I have to be honest, though, the Chiefs' red zone offense is still below average in the NFL. Last season, they ranked 19th, and currently, they're tied for 21st with the Falcons, scoring a touchdown only 44% of the time in the red zone. It's early in the season, and I'm not panicking just yet, but there will be times when they need to convert 7 points instead of 3, so they really need to sort out these red zone struggles. Kansas City's defense held strong again, pressuring Cousins on third down. The Chiefs then orchestrated another long, calculated drive, converting a crucial 3rd and 1. A big play to Rashee Rice was made possible by Carson Steele, who provided just enough pass protection for a 27-yard completion. Mahomes then scrambled down the middle for an easy 15 yards, followed by a series of short yardage plays that brought them to the 10-yard line. Thank goodness he did, because he played a key role in helping Kansas City secure the win. Before we get to that, Justin Reed made a great play, breaking up a pass intended for Darnell Mooney. However, a few plays later, Kirk Cousins got the better of him, drawing Reed offside with a hard count. That gave Atlanta a much more manageable 3rd and 3. They ended up converting on a 4th and 2, with a pass to Drake London. Again, Reed was in coverage. A bit of an up-and-down series for Reed, but he battled through. With 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line, the Chiefs' defense faced a crucial moment. Cousins targeted Kyle Pitts on 3rd and 5, with Brian Cook providing tight coverage. The Atlanta crowd and broadcasters were both calling for a pass interference flag, and honestly, Cook was a bit early and didn't turn his head around to look for the ball. It could have easily been flagged, but the refs didn't call it. Of course, people are always quick to claim the Chiefs paid off the refs, but that's just the usual whining from frustrated fans. Atlanta decided to go for it on 4th and 5 with about 4 minutes left. The Chiefs' defense applied pressure, forcing Cousins to throw the ball away, leading to a turnover on downs. Kansas City had the chance to seal the game, leading by 5, but they needed a couple of first downs. Unfortunately, they couldn't even manage one. On 3rd and 2, there was some miscommunication. Rashee Rice seemed to run the wrong route, which caused Worthy to pull up and adjust. Mahomes expected Worthy to keep running, leading to an awkward and incomplete pass. Andy Reid confirmed in his post-game presser that it was a missed route, implying Rice was the one who made the error. Either way, it was a miscue, and they failed to get the crucial first down. That gave Atlanta the ball back with 2.5 minutes left in the game and all 3 of their timeouts. On this final drive, it felt like the refs were making up for the missed call on Brian Cook in the end zone. A huge pass breakup by McDuffie was negated by a questionable illegal hands-to-the-face penalty on Shamari Connor. It seemed like either the call was on the wrong player or the refs were trying to balance things out from earlier. The refs continued with some questionable calls, throwing a phantom pass interference flag on Trent McDuffie after Ray McLeod ran right into him. That made it 2 phantom calls in 3 plays. However, one flag that should have been thrown was for the horse collar tackle on Jalen Watson, which helped move the Falcons close to the 20-yard line. Despite this, Nazeed Johnson made a stellar play, stopping Darnell Mooney's bubble screen for no gain. Then, Jamal Connor missed a tackle on Drake London, setting up a 3rd and 1 situation. This is where things got really interesting. On 3rd and 1, the Chiefs' defense stepped up, stopping Tyler Allgeier short and making it 4th and inches. With the game on the line, Atlanta went for it. Initially, it seemed like they were going to run a quarterback sneak, but Kirk Cousins audibled to an outside run based on Kansas City's defensive formation. That turned out to be a mistake, as Leo Chenal partially disrupted the play, and Nick Bolton burst through the gap, tackling Bijan Robinson for a loss. This resulted in another turnover on downs, sealing the Falcons' fate. Just when it seemed like Kansas City could coast to victory, Patrick Mahomes slid awkwardly on 2nd down, causing a moment of panic as he shook out his left knee. Fortunately, it seemed like nothing serious, though turf continues to be a concern. Mahomes explained after the game that the turf got him, but he's fine. He was running around to burn time off the clock, setting up the final kneel down to ice the game. Mission accomplished. The Chiefs won an ugly game against Atlanta, but a win is still a win. Hats off to the Falcons and Kirk Cousins. They're working hard to turn things around. It was a tough, gritty victory, but Kansas City now sits at 3-0, one of only 4 teams with that record, alongside the Seahawks, Steelers, and Vikings. At the time of recording this video, the Bills are also 2-0 heading into Monday Night Football. While there's still plenty to work on, being 3-0 after playing the Ravens, Bengals, and Falcons is impressive. If you had told me the Chiefs would be undefeated despite Mahomes throwing 4 interceptions to only 5 touchdowns, Kingsley struggling so much that he got benched, giving up hundreds of yards to tight ends and dealing with injuries, including Pacheco being out for 2 months, I'd have been skeptical. But here we are, 3-0 and moving forward. It's hard to believe we're here, but here we are. Yes, the Chiefs have things to clean up, but I'm not extremely concerned, at least not yet. Their red zone performance needs work, having gone only 6 for 13 on third downs. But they dominated time of possession and were one red zone interception away from potentially winning by more than one score. For whatever reason, the Chiefs just love to keep things close, giving Chiefs Kingdom a collective heart attack every game. I'm hopeful that Mahomes will settle down. His issues seem more mental than physical, possibly shaken from week 2 when Trey Hendrickson got to him multiple times, with Kingsley Swamataya struggling. Mahomes' confidence will benefit from more consistent protection. Wanya Morris started over Swamataya and had a decent game, giving up a couple of tough reps but nothing too serious. They weren't facing someone like Hendrickson, though much respect to Matthew Judon. Andy Reid mentioned during his press conference that they'll continue rotating Morris and Swamataya, with Morris remaining the starter for now. It's also worth noting that Travis Kelce has been quiet from a production standpoint. This is relatively low output for him, especially considering he's healthy. Teams are working hard to take him out of the picture, and that's opened opportunities for Rashee Rice to get more attention from Mahomes. Atlanta's defense leveled off Kelce in the second half, which is when he started getting a bit more involved. Mahomes explained that while there are plays called for Kelce, he's often double or triple covered, forcing him to look elsewhere. Sometimes Mahomes misses Kelce being open, and other times, Kelce is smothered by coverage. It's a combination of factors. I'm not panicking about Kelce's performance just 3 weeks in. He's definitely not washed. Rashee Rice has been the bright spot, catching 12 passes for 110 yards and a touchdown last night. Rice is currently second in the NFL in receiving yards, 288, trailing only Nico Collins, and he leads the league in receptions with 24. On the defensive side, the Chiefs held Atlanta to just 17 points, which is commendable given the talent Atlanta has. Players like Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and a solid quarterback in Kirk Cousins make for a tough offense to stop. While the defense isn't perfect, and they still need to improve in covering tight ends, they've done an excellent job stopping the run in all 3 games this season. The Chiefs' defense has been stellar so far, holding Derrick Henry, Zach Moss, and Bijan Robinson to just 111 yards on 51 carries. A remarkable achievement. They've kept solid opponents to an average of only 20.7 points per game, playing a crucial role in the team's undefeated start. While last season's Chiefs relied heavily on their defense, this year the offense has shown improvements, though they've still had to lean on the defense for key stands in both Week 1 and Week 3. Hopefully, Nick Bolton's and Rashee Rice's injuries aren't serious. We'll find out more with this week's injury report to see if they're sidelined or limited in practice. Looking ahead, the Chiefs' next opponent, the Chargers, are also dealing with significant injuries, with key players like Justin Herbert, Joey Bosa, and Rashawn Slater all banged up. I'll dive deeper into the Week 4 matchup later this week, but the Chiefs getting healthy is crucial since it's still early in the season. In the meantime, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this game, your biggest concerns, takeaways, and standout performances. Until next time, let's go Chiefs.